Welcome to this session on data mining system products and research types, its additional themes, trends, social impact of data mining. I am Dr. K. Aditya Shastri. In this session, briefly we will be discussing on what are the factors on which the data mining software is chosen, what are the current trends that are being used in data mining, how the data mining is impacting our social life on a day-to-day basis, and some of the additional topics or additional themes that data mining touches. So coming to the first topic in this data mining system products and research prototypes, one of the major problems here is how to choose a data mining system. Many commercial and open source data mining systems are available which can be selected based on the following features. So you are going to select the data mining system based on the following features. One feature is data types. So as you are aware, the data mining systems are able to handle formatted and relational databases, record-based data, then categorical symbolic attributes. But suppose your application requires some algorithms which are specialized, okay, such as the mining text documents, geospatial data, multimedia data, audio video data, okay, then you have to choose a specialized algorithm for that, because as you are aware, the traditional data mining algorithms need a little fine tuning when they have to be applied on specialized data like text documents, etc. Then system issues. So based on the system, you can choose a data mining software. But usually data mining software will run on Unix, Linux, Windows, Macintosh, and other operating systems. Another feature which is used for selecting data mining system is data sources. So where the source of the data is or where the data comes from. This basically refers to the data formats actually. So if you see, some algorithms, data mining algorithms may only work on ASCII files or relational data or data warehouse data. So, but suppose data system is able to work on this, still it needs support, database support such as ODBC connections, okay, OLE database, and to relay for accessing the relational data, basically the data mining software requires these supports. Coming to the fourth feature for which is used for selecting a data mining system is what are the data mining functions and methodologies. Some data mining system provide only classification. Others may provide association analysis, prediction, clustering, outlier analysis, visual data mining, etc. So, for example, there is only classification software is available, prediction software is available. That's what it says. So, based on your application, you can choose any one of them. Also, for a given data mining function, such as classification, some systems may support only one method, whereas others may support variety of methods. Correct? Even if you have a data mining tool or a software, if it is able to implement only a particular decision tree algorithm or particular support vector machine algorithm, then your application will be restricted to it. But suppose the software is able to have different, if it supports different algorithms like decision trees, neural networks, SVMs, then your application will be more generic. Then the fifth feature that is used is coupling data mining with database and or data warehouse systems. See, basically coupling means here he is going to combine the data mining with the regular databases and the warehouse systems. So what is data warehouse? If you remember, it is nothing but a large repository of data in which the data is heterogeneous in nature. Means the data is coming from various sources. So there are different types of coupling. One is no coupling, means you are not able to relate or couple the data mining with the database or data warehouse systems. Another is loose coupling. Loose coupling means basically there is not a tight connection between data mining and databases or data warehouses. Semi-tight coupling means there is partial relation or partial coupling between the data mining and the databases. Tight coupling means there is a tight relationship, tight link between the data mining and the database and data warehouse systems. So some data mining algorithms may work only on ASCII files, and so they are not coupled with database or data warehouse systems. In data mining systems that are loosely coupled with the database and data warehouse, data are retrieved into a buffer or main memory by the database and then mining functions are applied to analyze the retrieved data. So the data will be retrieved by the database operations, and then the retrieved data, on the retrieved data, the mining functions will be applied. Then we say that there is loosely coupling, a loose link between data mining and database systems. Coming to the sixth feature that is used for choosing a data mining system is scalability. If you remember, scalability means how scalable the algorithm is, whether it is row scalable or column scalable. Row scalable means the database size. Column scalable means the number of columns or the dimensions, right, attributes of the data. So these are the two issues basically the data mining algorithm has to face. A data mining system is row scalable if when the number of rows is enlarged 10 times, it takes no more than 10 times to execute the same data mining queries. So it is quite self-explanatory. If the number of rows in a particular data set are enlarged or increased by 10 times, then it's the speed of the data mining system will take no more than 10 times of what it originally took, correct? If it takes more than 10 times, then it is not row scalable. Similarly, if it is column scalable, if the mining query execution time increases linearly with the number of columns. So here the data mining algorithm depends on the number of columns. Here it depends on the number of rows. Then visualization tools. The seventh feature which can be considered for choosing a data mining system is visualization tools. Visualization in data mining can be categorized into data visualization, mining result visualization, mining process visualization, and visual data mining. See, basically here, this is actually a separate topic, in fact. As all of you are aware that the end users of a software usually are not technical persons. So proper visualization have to be given to the end users in the form of graphs, charts, okay, and different user-friendly features have to be used to display the results of the data mining. There this visualization tools come into picture. Then the eighth feature that has to be considered is data mining query language and graphical user interface. Of course, for any software you take, the graphical user interface should be easy to use and of high quality. Then only the data mining software can be used by end users who are not technical. Then there is actually lack of standard data mining language, which has made it difficult to standardize the data mining products and to ensure interoperability between data mining systems. Of course, nowadays many systems are being built using the Python language, but even Java language is being used to build the data mining systems. Even C, C++ are also used. So naturally, because of this, when the data mining system written in Java it needs to interact with the data mining system written in Python, some interoperability issues will take place. So coming to the second topic, it is called as examples of commercial data mining systems. So what are some real world data mining systems that you observe? Actually, if you search in Google, you might get some other data mining systems that are currently updated, currently developed in year 2020, 2020 and 19 like that. But apart from that, here he has listed some popular data mining system. One of them is Intelligent Miner from IBM. This data mining software is able to provide all the data mining tasks, correct, like association mining, classification, regression, prediction, clustering, okay, and the neural networks algorithm is also implemented here along with statistical methods. Then data preparation, that is pre-processing, along with the related visualization. So it provides all the major tasks of a data mining. Then they have Microsoft SQL Server 2005. It is actually a database system primarily, which is providing the data mining functions like association mining, classification, regression trees, clustering, etc. And if you see decision trees, naive-based neural network algorithms, these are being built or inbuilt in this system. Then another commercial software you have is Mindset. It was developed by Purple Insight and introduced by the SGI company in 1999. And these are the tasks it provides: association mining, classification, then statistics, visualization. Then the Oracle data mining is quite a popular software that is providing all the major tasks of data mining like association mining, classification, prediction, regression, clustering. Then another popular software developed by SPSS is Clementine software. See, this is one major advantage of this software is, apart from the regular data mining functions, it is object oriented in nature. Okay, basically it is following the object oriented concepts, and it has extended the module interface which allow users algorithms and utilities to be added to Clementine's visual programming environment. So the if you are developed a new algorithm, then it allows that algorithm to be integrated into its existing network. Then sixth type of commercial data mining system is enterprise miner. This was developed by SAS, and it provides the regular data mining functions like classification, clustering, prediction, along with advanced statistical analysis. Another commercial system is the insightful miner, that is providing data pre-processing, cleaning, classification, prediction, clustering, statistical analysis, and visualization tools. The eighth commercial system is CART from Salford system. CART stands for classification and regression trees. So it creates decision trees for both classification and regression. Classification decision tree is produced for classifying the data, and regression is produced for prediction of the numeric data. Then there are some other methods like boosting, bagging. These methods can be used to enhance the accuracy of the data mining algorithms. So CART system uses the boosting method to improve the accuracy. Then there are these two popular algorithms or systems, C5 and C5.0 from RuleQuest. So both are the commercial versions of the C4.5 decision tree algorithm. This is basically a decision tree algorithm, and this decision tree algorithm was open source. They made it commercial and named it as C5 and C5.5. And C5 is the Windows version, which runs on Windows platform, while C5.0 runs on the Unix platform. Then this is the most actually popular tool which you can use it. You can easily see it is open source. It is freely available, VCAR. This was developed by University of Waikato in New Zealand, and it is an open source software. This software is written in Java, and you can see all the functions here, data mining functions. It's just a simple drag and drop. Even they have inbuilt data sets loaded into this software. So you can run your algorithms on these data sets, and you can easily see the results. Okay, confusion matrix, accuracy, all the results of all the, all major algorithms like decision tree, neural network, all of them have been implemented in this open source software. So coming to the another topic here, that is called additional themes of data mining. In this additional themes or additional topics, you have one of the topic is statistical data mining. This is basically used for numeric data. Okay, when the data is numbers, real numbers, maybe integers. Okay, for this there are some methods available. Regression, this is a popular method actually. So I had given in the previous class, regression basically predicts the values of a response, that is the dependent variable, from one or more predictor or independent variables, from one or more independent variables. Okay, so basically the logic is very simple here. The regression methodology basically uses the formula y is equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3, where x1 plus x2 are the predictors, that is they are independent variables, and y is the predicted value. So this occurs, linear model is there, linear regression, multiple regression, weighted regression models, polynomial, different types of regression models are there. Basically this model is used to predict the number, like stock price prediction, house price prediction. All these things come under this regression, where you are predicting a number. So generalized linear models are actually a form of regression models only, but they allow categorical response variable. So categorical means alphabetical values can also be predicted using this GLM models. So regression means only numeric values can be predicted. In generalized linear models, you can even predict categorical alphabetical values. So time series analysis, you had seen this. There are some techniques for analyzing time series data, like auto regression methods. ARIMA, this is a popular one. Time series data is given to this model. It will easily predict it will forecast from the time series data. So usually this ARIMA model is used for forecasting rainfall or the temperature, etc. Then survival analysis is another statistical data mining technique that predicts the probability that a patient undergoing a medical treatment would survive at least to time t. So what is the survival time of the patient if he undergoes a particular treatment is predicted by this method, and it is frequently used to estimate the lifespan of industrial equipment. So even for industrial equipment, this can be used to predict the how much time the equipment is available or can stand. The second additional theme of data mining is visual and audio data mining. This was dealt in detail actually, but just it has been reconsidered here. If you see, visual data mining means how are you going to present the results to the end user, and audio data mining means the audio files are there like mp3, mp4, and data mining methods will be applied on that audio files, and you are going to analyze or extract relevant knowledge, interesting knowledge from the audio files. So basically here the definition is given: visual data mining discovers implicit and useful knowledge from large data sets using data and or knowledge visualization techniques. It is the integration of data visualization and data mining. Okay, basically it integrates computer graphics, human computer interaction, and high performance computing. And how we are going to integrate the data visualization with data mining? Simple thing, just the charts or the graphs or curves, box plots, 3D cubes, these are some way of visualizing the data. So when the data mining algorithm gives the results, those results can be plotted in the form of these diagrams. Fine. And audio data mining was dealt in the previous sessions, so in detail I will not go. Basically here the audio files will be there. On that the data mining techniques will be applied to extract useful knowledge. Then the third additional theme of data mining is data mining and collaborative systems or collaborator filtering. So this recommender system was also studied. If you remember, recommender system means suppose a customer purchases a certain product, then the data mining system may recommend a similar product to the user through his Gmail or phone. And collaborative filtering means products are recommended based on the opinions of other customers. So basically if you see Amazon or others, it will do this collaborative filtering. So if you have purchased a pen drive, apart from the similar products, it will also give some products which were liked by other users. It will give the opinions or the likes of other users for a particular product, so that you are tend to buy the other product and increase the profit of the online company. That's what. During online purchases, customer is recommended other products based on his previous purchases. Collaborative recommender systems are a form of intelligent query answering, that is, additional information is returned in response to a query. So other products which are not related to the product you have bought may also be displayed to the user based on the choices or opinions of the other users. So coming to the another topic called social impact of data mining. Basically, if you see, the data mining is currently, because all of us are using the technology, maybe even a layman uses the mobile phones, WhatsApp, etc. So day to day data mining is affecting the day to day activities of the user, like supermarket advertisements on the internet, crime prevention. One of the social impact of data mining is ubiquitous and invisible data mining. Ubiquitous means ever present. Okay, ever present. The data mining is ever present actually. It is going on in the background. We don't know about it. For example, in a search engine, when you type a particular search query, so your type of interest will be captured by the Google search engine or any search engine, and next time when you go for the typing anything in the search engine, it will display similar topics which may be of interest to you. So it is actually ever present. Back in the background the algorithms are running, we don't know about it. And invisible data mining also same thing. We don't know that the data mining is present. Subconsciously this data mining is being used everywhere to develop smart software like recommender systems, web search engines, intelligent database systems, email managers, correct, which are often invisible to the end user, but in the background it is working. So basically Walmart allows the suppliers to access data on their products and perform analysis using data mining, correct. So the suppliers are given the data of the consumers, so that analysis can be done using the algorithms, and this will help the suppliers to identify the customers and what are their buying patterns. Based on that, the new opportunities can be identified. And even when a particular software is installed in your system, if you remember, it will ask, it is going to needs access to your contacts in the Gmail, etc. Even if you have a Zoom software, all of you are using, when you install, it might ask for that it wants access to your Google Contacts, calendar, etc. This is, they use it for data mining. And even the Ola cab and Uber cab, they use the data of the customers who are traveling, and based on that the new opportunities can be identified. Then online shopping is there, in which the personalized product recommendations are given to the user through his Gmail, etc. Then the credit card companies are using data mining to detect fraud usage, that is unusual patterns of spending, etc. So coming to this ubiquitous and invisible data mining, another thing is customer relationship management. Correct. What is how to maintain the good relationship between the customer and the management? For that, the companies may tailor advertisements and promotions that are suited to the customers who are buying in the company. So related mail comes to the customers. This is a form of recommender systems only. Then initial web page. So suppose you have browsed a particular website several times, then that web page may be displayed to you as the initial web page when you open the Internet Explorer or Chrome. Yahoo was the first company to introduce this. So usage logs from Yahoo are mined to provide Yahoo with information regarding an individual's web usage habits. So spam filters are there, in which classification algorithm, especially here in this spam filter, the naive Bayes algorithm is used that will recognize the spams. And Google uses web mining, in which PageRank algorithm is used to return a list of websites and organize them. Then web-wide tracking, so using cookies and all, they will track a user, which site he visits and all. Then the eBay e-commerce company uses the data mining software to detect fraud purchases. Then in healthcare, data mining is there to analyze the data, medical data for developing new drugs, find the associations between the patient's drugs and outcomes. In crime prevention also is used. In Dutch police, they use this data detective software to find criminal patterns, or to find some criminal activities in the criminal databases. So coming to the social impact of data mining, in this the second point is data privacy and data security. As all of you are aware that most data mining algorithms don't work on personal data like prediction of floods, droughts, astronomy, biology, geology, etc. So basically, if you observe, if you want to implement any data mining project on data that involves personal information of the customer, then you need permission. Actually, you will not get banking data. Even hospital data will not get for your projects because they are sensitive data. For that, you need fair information practices that protect the privacy and data. So once you start doing the final layer project, no, even it is very difficult to get simple agriculture data from local agencies like local agriculture agencies, because of the various restrictions involved. And if you are doing projects on sensitive data like the banking data and hospital data, they will not give the banks or hospitals will not give the information of their customers. So basically, if you observe, there are some fair information practices that protect the privacy and data security. One of them is purpose specification and use limitation. So whenever you are collecting the data, you should clearly specify for what purpose you are collecting that data, for purposes for which personal data are collected, and should be specified at the time of the collection. So if you observe, if you are downloading any open source data, sometimes they will ask for what purpose you are downloading that data, whether you are downloading it for research purpose or academic purpose or commercial purpose and all. And use limitation. What is the extent or scope of your use of that data? Openness. Individuals have right to know the nature of data collected about them, identity of data controller, and how data is used. So basically, it has to be transparent. When you collect the data, the individuals from whom you are collecting the data, they should be clearly informed about why you are collecting the data and how that data is going to be used. Security safeguards like unauthorized access, disclosure, and modification of data. So these have to be implemented when data is being accessed. Accessing the data in an unauthorized way is supposed to be illegal. Then disclosing sensitive information and data modification. For example, if you see many apps when you install on your mobile or on your laptops, they will ask they need access to your contacts, Gmail contacts or Google contacts. Naturally, it becomes a authorized access, but if you are not allowing them, then the particular app will not be installed. So in such a case, it is a dilemma or ambiguity for the customer who is going to use that app. So another question that can be asked in the fifth unit is, what are the trends, current trends in data mining? So data mining is increasingly used for exploration of applications in areas like businesses such as e-commerce, e-marketing, financial analysis, telecom, biomedicine, science, counter-terrorism, mobile wireless data mining. Okay. So from these you can understand these are the recent trends in which data mining is being applied. Specifically, if you see, one of the trends is in developing the scalable and interactive data mining methods. So as the amount of data increases in terms of petabytes, terabytes, gigabytes, so you need scalable algorithms for individual and integration of the data mining functions into those existing algorithms. Then the integration of data mining with database, data warehouse and web data warehouse systems. This ensures data availability, data mining portability, scalability, high performance, and an integrated information processing environment for multi-dimensional data analysis and exploration. So basically, if you observe in the second point, again this is a trend where you need to integrate the existing data mining techniques with the relational database systems or maybe even unstructured databases like MongoDB. Then data warehouse, again I repeat, data warehouse is a large repository which holds data from various heterogeneous sources. So you need to integrate the existing data mining systems to the existing databases, data warehouse and web data warehouse systems, which will ensure that the data is available 24/7 and it is portable, scalable, and is able to perform with high performance. Then the third trend is visual data mining. This is an effective way to discover knowledge from large data using visualization such as graphs, plots, etc. So as I had before only told you that most of the times the end user of a software will be a non-technical person. So he will uh, understand the result of a data mining better if the results are displayed in a pictorial way like graphs, plots. Coming to the fourth trend, new methods for mining complex types of data need to be developed. So you studied some different types of data. Stream data is there in case of networks, time series data is there like stock prices, etc. Sequence data is there, okay, with respect to time. Graph data is there, spatio-temporal data related to geography, multimedia data related to audio, video, and the text data. All these different types of data need different types of sophisticated data mining algorithms. The existing traditional data mining algorithms have to be modified appropriately or customized appropriately to handle these different types of data. Then you had also seen biological data mining in the applications of data mining. If you remember, biological data mining involves mining DNA and protein sequences, high dimensional microarray data. So why this biological data mining is required is to produce effective treatment, to generate effective treatment of pre-existing diseases. So to order, basically to study the association between the various genes and to identify the vaccinations for particular viruses. Then data mining and software engineering is a sixth trend. Data mining in software engineering involves analysis of execution of buggy software programs, tracing data generated during program execution. So till now, all these things are performed manually by the testing engineer. So if data mining algorithms are developed, they are able to trace the software for errors and debug the software for errors. So this may disclose some important patterns and outliers. So this will basically help in software testing and even development. Then another seventh trend is web mining. This involves web content mining, web log mining, and data mining in internet. So most of the trends, if you see, they are nothing but applications of data mining. If you remember what was web mining? Web mining means here we will mine the web log records, which will give the browsing patterns of the user. From this, the e-commerce companies can predict the which customer is more profitable and what are the products he is going to buy. Those particular products can be targeted to the customer. Then you have distributed data mining. This involves data mining across distributed systems like internet, intranet, LAN, high-speed wireless networks, sensor networks, etc. So as we had again discussed this, data mining, the data can be distributed across various geographic locations. So when you are applying algorithms for such distributed data, you need data mining algorithms to work in a distributed way. So this is also another trend or a research topic. The ninth trend is real-time or time-critical data mining. This involves stream data mining like e-commerce, web mining, stock analysis, intrusion detection, mobile data mining, which require dynamic data mining models to be built in real time. So basically, if you remember, there are some critical systems, correct, like missile systems, etc. They are real-time systems where any fraction of a second delay will result in a huge catastrophe. So data mining can be used for such tasks also, he says. Then graph mining, link analysis, and social network analysis. This is useful for capturing the sequential, topological, geometric, and other relational characteristics of many scientific data sets. So these methods are newly coming methods. So one of you can take up this as your final year project and try to research topics on this. This will give you, less number of projects have been done on this topic. So you can search in Google and try to get some good ideas on this graph mining, link analysis, and social network analysis. Another trend you have is multi-relational and multi-database data mining. This involves mining data spread across multiple tables and databases. This is quite similar to the distributed data mining. Only thing is here we are restricted to the data that is distributed across various tables. Then the final one is privacy protection and information security in data mining. So this we have just now studied. As the information gets collected for data mining purposes, it has to be made transparent why you are collecting the data and how are you going to make the information more secure, correct? These are nothing but some important issues which you can deal. So further development of privacy preserving data mining methods you can develop, which are able to preserve the privacy of data which is collected. So that comes to the end of this session, in which we have briefly discussed about how to choose a data mining system and what are the social impacts of data mining, what are the trends that are currently reigning in the field of data mining, and also certain additional themes of data mining. This basically will give you an idea of how the data mining is affecting our day-to-day life. Thank you.